figures out there and reports you can get that will inform you perhaps a little bit more as to what works and what doesn't work, and networking and talking to other people as well. So yeah, it's maybe worth just taking a step back and thinking, well, what are we doing? What's the direction that we want to go in? How can we best reach those particular consumers or customers? And if it's the way that competitors are doing it, maybe it is, but maybe it isn't. Maybe they've missed a trick because they haven't taken the time. They've jumped into that P again, the promotion. So, and I also think, well, I think generally people are still very busy at the moment, despite the credit crunch. But if you are quieter in your business at the moment, it's actually an ideal time to step back, take stock, and kind of rearrange the troops so that when things do get busier, you've got everything in place. You don't usually have that luxury of time. But the opposite can be true, of course, as well. When you've got harder economic conditions, you'll end up being a busy fool and having to do even more. So just take stock, really, of direction that you want to go in, I'd say.
So, are you a freelance consultant, are you?
I am, yes. We dive straight into the presentation, but I'm here today on behalf of the Chartered Institute of Marketing. But I've worked within businesses running marketing department before, but for the last 10 years, I know exactly what you mean as small business. I've actually set up my own business and developed that. I say it's in its 10th year now. So I know what it's like, to market yourself, even being in marketing on a small budget. And people say, oh, well, how do you market yourself? I have to say word of mouth. Don't underestimate word of mouth. And it's literally going to the trade bodies or organisations or meetings that suit my target audience and making sure that you build up a relationship. And it is relationship building. You wouldn't hand over £1,000 to somebody you didn't know, or 2,000 or 3,000 or whatever it is, without knowing them and building up a relationship. It can take 6 months, it can take a year. It depends what industry you're in, but don't underestimate word of mouth and networking. And I've used advertising and stuff like that previously. But not to great avail. I had more people ringing me to try and do business with me as a result of seeing the ad than the other way around. But you learn with experience on that. But perhaps if I'd spoken to other people along the way in the early days, I might have learnt through the networking side. And use each other as well. That's why I was interested in a lot of people in education in here. Speak to each other, because in some respects I know you might be competing with the same students, but if it's non-competing, learn from each other. For example, I once worked with a startup business that was into photography, and then by pure coincidence ended up giving some business advice to somebody that was doing makeup, which we then thought that could go into the wedding sector as well, makeup of the mother of the bride, the bridesmaids, etc. So in the end, those two got speaking to each other and put a package together, a promotional tool, which they used to target the wedding sector. So you have joint marketing efforts, same target audience, learning from each other, but still have their own separate businesses. But suddenly you've got Salesforce out there, haven't you? People that are like-minded and with the same customer base. So look at things like that as well. And I do. I have, look at who your competitors are, because they could actually be an ally in the future. I have associates that I work in the same area as well that you can work with. So a competitor isn't always necessarily a competitor.